Welcome to twoquestions.tv. My guest today is Jason Burt, and we're talking about preparing your company for sale. Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm Susan Baroncini-Moe. Joining me today is Jason Burt, who works with business leaders to take a holistic view of their company and use the lean manufacturing strategy developed by Toyota to drive growth, profitability, quality, along with other key performance indicators that a company needs to succeed. He's taken his 19 years of experience and training with Toyota, and he's now focused on investing the potential found in leaders, businesses, cultures, products, and industries. Hi, Jason. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Susan, for having me. I appreciate it very much.
All right, let's just get this out of the way right up front. You're a lean guy. You learned it right at the source, it sounds like. And I feel like most of us have heard of lean, but a lot of us don't know what it is. So for the folks in our audience who may not quite know what that means, what's lean?
Sure. And I'll try not to bore everyone with too much of the technical side of it.
Yeah, just one or two sentences, broad strokes.
Yeah, broad strokes. So lean was a management philosophy that was created by Toyota a long, long time ago. And essentially, it's minimizing the waste that people are doing throughout the day. And I think the even more powerful piece in that is how they do that. How they eliminate the waste is through empowering their entire organization and teaching them how to problem solve. So they've taken the scientific method in problem solving and they've taught it throughout their entire organization, and they have their entire organization minimizing all the waste that happen through anyone's given day or through different processes. And I mean, that's really what lean is. It's just problem solving to take the waste that we do throughout any given day out of the process or out of our daily lives to make us more efficient with what we're doing.
And so it's a specific methodology.
Sure.
And so what are some of the hallmarks of that? This is not an actual question. This is a sub-question of the first one.
Sure. Well, as far as a philosophy, I mean, there's so many different aspects to it, but like I said, the problem solving is a big piece of it. And they have, what most people hear of when they hear about lean is all these tools. There's all sorts of tools that get implemented in a manufacturing environment or a hospital environment, healthcare. But most of those tools that they implement, they're really there to see the gaps in whatever we're trying to do from a performance standpoint is what those gaps do. And then once I understand the gap that's happening in this process, it takes a nurse 15 minutes to go get supplies and bring them back to a room, right? That's a gap, right? If they need them there sooner, faster, more efficient.
Right.
They then use problem solving to say, well, how can we take it down from 15 minutes to 10 minutes to 5 minutes? Okay. So really the hallmark of when I try and sum it up for people real simplistically, there's a bunch of tools that help us see the problems, and then they problem solve those problems, and they use those tools to highlight more problems. It's this constant cycle of seeing problems and solving them.
Okay. So take that, because a lot of the people who watch the show are business owners, family business owners, and we talk a lot about family business on the show. Talk a little bit about how lean could be used to prepare your company for sale and ensure you leave a legacy. How can that work?
Yeah, one of the things that I see, I work a lot with private equity companies that are buying companies from, a lot of times it's the original entrepreneurs, people that started the businesses, and I'll help them go out and do some due diligence. And it's amazing to me how many companies don't have stable processes in place. So that's, that's one of the things that comes out of this, right? So as you're doing that problem solving process, you start to create stable processes that are consistent for both the leadership and how they manage, and also, a manufacturing environment or whatever that environment in that business is. And it's difficult for a buyer to come in, especially if it's an investor, not someone who wants to be hands-on running it, for an investor to come in and say, I'm going to buy this, but I'm looking at it and I don't know if it'll sustain once that owner is gone. That's a question, right? Because they're not buying what's there today. They're buying what's going to be there after the owner exits the business.
Yep.
And it creates a real big gap for people that are looking to buy businesses. They're constantly looking at these companies and saying, wow, is it going to be sustainable? once the leader, whether it's specific owner leaves or, the relationships are gone. So whether it's that sales end process and you have an owner that the main reason they're getting revenue is because of those informal relationships.
Right.
Well, we need a sustainable process there if you want to be able to sell your business, because otherwise an investor's then come in and say, all the revenue is tied to you specifically, Steve. So what are we going to do, right? Because I can't buy this business. And then when you walk out the door, we lose all those relationships with the customer. So what Lean does is for every single process in the organization, whether it's the sales process, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's the AP, AR, wherever it is, it helps create those sustainable processes. And I encourage so many business owners out there that are thinking about selling in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. Are you ready to actually sell it? And are you going to get the value that you can out of it if you don't have those processes in place? Because if someone comes in and sees a very stable, well-run company, and I'm not saying they're not well-run, they're just not easily transitioned from one owner to the next.
Right.
So I think that's what Lean can help provide, is those stable processes and a good foundation for a handoff from one owner to another.
I'm going to push back a little bit though.
Okay.
Not about Lean though. I'm going to push back on if you think you're going to sell your business in the next 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. Because I am of the very strong opinion that exit and succession planning is something that you cannot do soon enough. And the reason is that it's like insurance. You could plan for, okay, I don't want to leave. I'm 46. I don't want to retire for another good 20 years at least. I love what I do. I love building my brand. I love my company. But here's the thing. Even if I'm 65, I may still not want to retire. But the reality is this: I could get hit by a car tomorrow. I could I could have a heart attack. I could have a stroke. There are so many things that happen that we don't know. And so if you don't have those processes in place, and if you don't know where the gaps are and your company isn't well run in your absence now, no matter what age you are, then if something were to happen to you, what happens to your family that depends on your business for income? What happens to your kids who were planning on going to college? What happens to your, spouse who eats food, needs electricity, needs the mortgage, all those things. And so I am a very strong advocate for having the business always in a state of readiness, because you never know when the exit might happen.
Agreed.
So 1 to 2 years, it takes time to get it in that place. And so it's better to do it sooner or than later, but do it now. Audience members,
I agree
please.
100%. Yeah, and the reason I say 1 to 2 to 3 years is because right now there are so many baby boomers that have that are within the next 5 years that are planning on exiting their business and haven't really thought about it. Like you said, they haven't done the prep work up front to think about it, when they started the business or while they've been running the business. And there's just a large amount of business owners that are getting ready to exit that I don't think have put that thought into it. But I agree with you 100%.
It's a funny thing because the research is showing almost every business owner knows how important this is. But 75% of business owners haven't done it.
Sure.
And it doesn't happen overnight. And so when you're ready to retire, when you're ready to exit the business, is not the time to start thinking about these things. It's too late now. It's sort of like, when our parents, want to go into, assisted living, they often wait till it's too late. Now they can't go through their stuff. They've got, too much going on and it's too late to move in. So this is one of those things that I feel so strong. I don't mean to hijack you.
No,
I think it's so important to do so early and it's just never soon enough. And when you talk to baby boomers, they're not ready to leave. I have talked to so many business owners and we talk about this and they say, but I'm not ready. I'm not going to be ready for a good long time. And I'm like, it's not about you.
That's right. And I think there's some blind spots as well with many leaders. Yeah. So many leaders, they look at their business and, depending upon their style, it plays a big part into a style of leadership. If they're, like you said, if I exit and I'm gone for a week, how well does it run? But many leaders don't, it's a blind spot for them.
Yeah.
That that so much funnels through them, that so many decisions funnel through them, especially with small businesses. It's so easy for, you don't have a large team that you're depending on. It's all funneling through you. And it very much is a blind spot where they don't even realize those gaps are there. So, whenever possible, I think, similar to what you're saying, leaders should be looking for other people to kind of help them evaluate where they're at, where their business is at. Even if they're not selling in 10 years, having someone, that they trust or rely on, or someone that can come in and say, here's what I see. If you were to not be here, or if you were to sell your company, these are the gaps that are in place right now. Because I've looked at companies for sale and talked with the leaders, and they're shocked at some of our evaluations sometime.
Yeah.
And why they're not getting the value that they're looking for at a purchase point. So I think that, it's a struggle, when you have a company, you've been running it, you're successful, you're making money, to be able to self-reflect and look at it and say, how well is it run? Is it stable? If I'm not there, have I really built this culture that'll move forward without me? It's difficult to look at yourself that way sometimes, and your business, which is your baby. So
yeah. Well, I like to recommend go away for a month and see what happens.
Sure. Yep. So you go back to book, real old book. Robert Kiyosaki wrote Cash Flow Quadrant, and you go back and talk about self-employed versus a business owner. Are you self-employed and you are the employee and you are the one running it, or is it truly a business that operates without you? And that's the question. I recognize myself. I'm a consultant. I'm the one doing the work. If I step away, the work doesn't get done. I'm truly self-employed, even as a business owner, and I have other people working for me. I'm truly self-employed.
Yeah.
Being a business owner is truly an entity that operates on its own that you can step away from. That's a litmus test that you need to have or do at some point in time.
Exactly. Jason, where can people find you?
The best place is my website or LinkedIn. So my website is eHIP Consulting, which is not an easy thing to understand, but it's EHIIPconsulting.com. And we have a landing page set up for your audience. So it's eHIP Consulting /2 questions. So there'll be a landing page for them. But otherwise, LinkedIn is a great place. I spend a lot of time out there connecting with different people. So.
Hey, me too. See ya over there.
Yes, of course.
Hey, thanks for joining me today. Would you like to join me for an after show?
Sure, I'd love to.
Awesome. Okay, viewers, if you'd like to join Jason and me for the after show, come with us. We're going over to 2questions.tv, which is the only place where you can find the after show. We will see you over there. In the meantime, we'll have Jason's links in the show notes below, so you can find him and his special landing page for us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.